If you're a band or an artist trying to produce your own great music, but your songs keep coming out subpar and not the way you want them to sound, you're likely sleeping on a whole process that you really need to think more about. I'm Brandon with Megatonic Audio, and today I'm going to show you what that process is and how it can help you come out the other side with a much better song every time. Let's get into it. All right, so jumping straight into it, what is this process that you're missing, or at least not thinking hard enough about, not taking seriously enough? That process is the pre-production process. What is the pre-production process? Well, in the whole music production process for a song, there is 3 stages you can break it up into. There's the pre-production stage, then the production stage, and then the post-production stage. Post-production is mixing and mastering. Production is largely just putting everything to record, recording everything down tangibly. And pre-production is everything before that. And so many people just want to finish writing the lyrics and maybe just a chord progression, and they think that's good, let's jump to recording it. The pre-production process is more than that. You are writing the lyrics in the pre-production process. You are writing the chord progression, but you don't just stop there and then when you're right before you're about to hit record in the studio, you're planning what the drums should play or while you're recording, keep recording over and over again, different parts, see what works. You need to get the whole thing planned out in the pre-production stage. That's what it's for. Too many people jump straight to, like I said, barely getting anything down and then just trying to record it. And then they wonder why it sounds subpar, why it's not good enough, why it doesn't sound professional, why it doesn't hit right, why it doesn't capture the feeling. All that stuff can be sorted out in the pre-production stage when you do it right, when you fully commit to it. So instead of just barely getting something down, the pre-production stage is meant to get you to plan out every part of it before you hit record, so that when you hit record, you know exactly what you're going to be playing, what's going to be playing where, and it's got way more of a chance of sounding awesome just as a raw recording for each track. And when you put it all together as a song, as a raw recorded song, it has a much better chance of sounding way better. It will sound way better if you took the time beforehand to prepare it. What's that quote? Somebody sometime in history said you got an hour to cut down as many trees as possible. What's with an axe? What's your strategy or whatever? And it's like I'd spend the first 30 minutes sharpening my axe. And then obviously that implies it's going to be much easier chopping down those trees, right? Same thing with really honing in on pre-production. Once you get your lyrics roundabout there and your chord progression there, there's other stuff to plan. You need to plan out the rest of the instruments, but you need to tweak your lyrics. And this really helps to have someone else with you. And I've got another video coming about how that works, good practices, or rather why it works well, why it's better to write with somebody, contrary to what you might think. You might want to do it all yourself, but you're going to want somebody to bounce things off of for different reasons, and I'll get into that in another video. But you're going to want to trim the fat, tweak some lyrics, definitely tweak some lyrics, tweak the chord progression even, figure out the song structure, make sure it's solid, make sure it doesn't meander too much, and make sure everything really hits home so that when you make that rough work tape with just the guitar and your vocal on your iPhone or whatever, on a voice memo, or the piano and your vocal, after you've planned everything out and you just play it to that, you got a good rhythm, you got a good melody, you've got your lyrics and chord progression locked in. That's all going to show on that work tape, even without all the other stuff you're planning to put in it in the final recording, drums, bass, kazoo, whatever. Once you plan all of that, you'll still be able to get a great work tape, a good reference for what the core of the song is. What is the DNA of the song? Where's the soul of the song? You'll be able to hear that perfectly in a work tape with just one instrument and the vocal. Whereas if you didn't do any of that and you just barely got done writing your lyrics, you're like, oh, finally figured out enough lines, and then you put it to 4 chords that you think are pretty cool, that's likely not enough. Sorry to say it, but you need to go through that song, pick it apart, and make sure, okay, what do we have here? What is this song supposed to be? What am I going for? What do I actually have? And how can it be better? It's just like when, let's say you're in another discipline, writing, right? Not as a art form, or yeah, as an art form, more in an entertainment. How do I say it? Writing a novel, prose, stuff like that. You always need to look at what you're writing and always ask yourself, is there a better way to say this? That's what writers do in those forms of entertainment. All the good ones always, when they write something, they go back over it and look at, is that the best way I could have said that? Do I need to say that? Do I need to say this? Am I saying this too many times? In song form, is that the best way? Is that the best lyric to say what I'm trying to say? Is this too on the nose? Is it not on the nose enough? Or is it not going to come across enough? Did I already say something just like this in the verse before? These are all things that you need to proofread what you wrote in the pre-production stage, trim the fat, fix what's wrong, add what needs to be added, take out what needs to be taken out, move on to tweaking the chords with it, make sure the rhythm and the tempo is right. You need to plan all of this stuff, and it sounds so boring. But if you skip it, you're going to be like 90% of the rest of musicians that come out with crappy songs. I know that everybody's intimidated by how many people are uploading to Spotify each day, and they'll just leave the statistic at that of whatever it is at the time. They're like, oh, it's so daunting to cut through the mix. It's so hard because it's not as hard as you think. You have to have the right strategies in place. Yeah, there's marketing into it, but it all starts with a good song. That will always be the rule of law in music. It starts with a good song. And 90% of people uploading to Spotify all the time aren't doing this. They are not sharpening the axe. They're just willy-nilly chopping at trees, but they're not gonna do it as efficiently as if they sharpen the axe. They are not going to have as good of songs as you if you are planning your songs beforehand. Now, I'm not saying to overthink everything. Work with somebody else, have them look over your stuff, and be like, hey, is this good enough? Is there something I need to change? Does this at least evoke any sort of emotion from you? Like I said, more on co-writing with someone else or working with someone else on your music in another video. But you need to plan all this out. Too many people aren't taking seriously the pre-production stage. If you take it seriously, you will already cut through a swath of people that don't. That already moves you so many steps ahead of those people. And when you plan it out right, you can be confident in the songs you have. Not only that, you should also plan several songs at a time and pick the best one to record. You're not going to record every song you write. Whoever your favorite artist is, whoever your favorite songwriter is, your favorite band is, they did not record everything they wrote. They didn't. You're never going to find everything they wrote because they cut through the crap. They weeded everything out. You have to write a bunch of crap before you hit gold, right? It's a numbers game because as you write more, you are getting better and better. Especially if you pay attention to the planning of it and you're not just doing random stuff. You're actually putting effort into making the song great from the start before you even record. You will get better faster doing it that way than just writing random songs all the time and just kind of halfway doing it. In the pre-production stage, write several songs, pick the best one, make sure you've planned everything out, bounce that off of somebody else so that they can give you their opinions, anything that you may have missed or haven't thought about your song that could be better. And they can also tell you what to lean into, what's really cool, and you could actually play that one more time, or you could actually focus on that riff or whatever else. Then you've got a great song in the making already before you even hit record. And when you record it, it's going to be smooth as butter, because you already know what everything's going to sound like, what you're going to play. It's going to sound great because you're more confident playing the parts in the performance, whether it's singing or playing an instrument, which then makes the mixing and mastering really easy. All that piles together, and you've definitely got a way better song than you ever would have before. Whereas before, you were just playing a lottery and just writing random stuff and jumping to recording it too quickly and then mixing it and wondering why it's not as great as you wanted it to be or as you thought it could be. Well, it can be. You just need more focus on the pre-production process. And if you're needing help with your pre-production process, I'm your guy. Click the link below if you want to work together. It'll take you to a landing page with a quick video about how my process works. And then there's a short inquiry form to fill out just so I can see where you're at with your music, where you want to be, and all that good stuff. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all found this really beneficial. I hope you take it to heart. I hope you use this information to your benefit. And if you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's free to you, and it helps me get to more people like you to talk about topics like this. Anyways, that's it for the video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.